shot. He's got a touchdown.
And Mahomes at bay.
The Tampa Bay Bucs, Super Bowl 55.
Hello and welcome back, or welcome for the first time, whatever it is, to the Bucs Banter podcast. I am your host, Collin Hallboom. I am joined by my co-hosts, Bo Danyard and Scott Capron. And welcome to our recovery episode. We're going to try to talk our way through what was one of the craziest, most psychotic, epic weekends of playoff football the world has ever seen. It doesn't even matter who you are, where you're from, or why you watch the NFL. This weekend was surely one you will never forget. In terms of the Bucs game, it's going to take some time to recover from what was one of the most crushing playoff defeats I can remember as a Bucs fan. And maybe, part of that can be attributed to the fact that the Buccaneers have only made the playoffs 2 times in the last 14 years. But I think more of it is due to the way this particular game went, and more specifically how it ended. So I had no hope, no realistic belief that the Bucs had any chance of coming back in that game for almost the entire game. And then they decided to give us Bucs fans some hope, which is what made it so crushing.
A ton of hope. Really turned it into a coin flip game at the end there. And hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in. What a weekend, what a game the Bucs one was. For that to somehow be topped later that night by the Chiefs and Bills was just incredible. The Rams-Bucs game was absolutely insane, and it doesn't even hold a candle to what happened in Kansas City. So, lots of places to go here. Genuinely feel terrible for the Bucs fans and the listeners of the podcast. That sucks. It almost would have been easier to take had they just maybe scored twice and it was a 27-17 final or something like that. But the fact that they came all the way back and just got diced at the end of the game, and the Rams didn't even have to kick a long field goal or anything, right? So I know we're going to cover all that, but just a true roller coaster game.
Insane weekend. And to think that we started off with 3 games where the the visiting team wins on a field goal, and then we get to that Kansas City Buffalo game, is just absolutely ridiculous from start to finish, and nobody can be stopped. And I had lost all hope in playoff defenses after watching what had happened to the Bengals and the Titans, and then San Francisco just completely puts that on its head. And then we get those 2 ridiculous games the next day. It was so fun. It was incredibly fun. Probably not great for anyone's heart. But yeah, it was great. It was a very fun thing to be a part of and to be a football fan this weekend.
100% agree. All right, Collin, I want to flip it to you. Okay. I'm going to take the lead a little bit here just because I can see it in your face. You're reeling. You know what I mean? It looks like you left the bar, but you can't find your buddies. I've seen the look on your face before. So game kicks off at 3. How are we feeling around noon or 1 o'clock? Because you had you had worries, you had some apprehension even leading into the game, basically all week, right? With the injuries and just the talent of the Rams. So was it similar? Because we're literally saving this for the podcast because we wanted to get this all live and get the reaction here. So how are you feeling before the game kicked off?
Yeah, I was feeling when it became official, Wirfs was out, which I expected, right? That's why I was saying things like I didn't really understand why the Bucs were favored. I didn't agree with the line anyway.
Yeah.
Because that was what it was. I was not super confident, but definitely felt like they had a chance if everything went right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was how I felt. I didn't have we'd talked about it and thought about it so much, so it really just didn't change much. It was really the same mindset. Whereas I felt like the Bucs were big underdogs, internally.
Yeah, I feel like you were fine. You were fine with the Wirfs news. But then you sent me a tweet about the receiving core behind Mike Evans, and I felt like I could feel the like a vacuum in my phone or something. Like it just sucked all the life out of you. You're
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
a
is
great-
John
that's a great
Brown going to
point.
play?
That's a great point, Bo. With Cyril Grayson, like I'd never had so much hope in Cyril Grayson playing and like wanting him to play because we just needed someone with something to give at that position outside of Mike Evans. And I also didn't know how Leonard Fournette would look, which was a pleasant surprise because I thought Lenny battled real hard yesterday and ran real hard.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing
From
with
the first drive, yeah.
yeah, just so like, I mean, Bucs fans got a lot to be thankful for in terms of Leonard Fournette. Like he's quite a warrior. He's really performed for the Buccaneers these past two postseasons, but well, at least that game anyway, when they really needed him.
Do we want to get into the highlights? Or
Yeah, like we can just
highlights. Or?
May as
yeah,
well
we'll-
now.
Sure, Bo. Why don't you run the highlights and we can just kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. You wanna,
We don't have to
jump
talk
in?
about exactly what we see, but we can. I haven't
Yeah.
even looked at a damn thing since the game. Needed some
Yeah.
time to recover. I figured, the podcast is a good way to do it collectively with some Bucs fans.
Yeah, and like I made this little package here, the Fournette thing at the very start of the game. He came out, he had 2 big runs. I think he got a first downs on his first 2 touches. Sorry, let me use this full screen here. But I pick it up a little bit over halfway through the first. Stafford goes down to his almost sack, and Sue is all over him right after. He thought that he got kicked. You guys remember this?
Sue gets the penalty.
Sue gets the penalty, yeah.
Hockley gave 2 of these, right? The one to Brady 2 I found is a little ridiculous. While
we get to that
bleeding
very
from the
soon
mouth.
here. So yeah, I don't know. It's not that much of a kick though. I don't know what Sue's really so upset about.
But
It's
regardless,
dirty, though.
but
It's
yeah,
dirty.
and regardless,
Yeah.
though, what did Sue really do? Like,
True, not much. He
Yeah.
just pointed at him. Yeah,
like, come on.
and then
playoff
here,
football.
Kendall Blanton gets the touchdown off of that penalty, basically.
Yeah, just like everyone thought.
Yeah,
it would
Higbee
be
right
Blanton.
beside him, but he goes, "Oh, Blanton looks nice." Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So here's a nice play by Brady here.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah,
that
and
was an incredible play.
Brady was like under so much pressure from the very start of the game. Unbelievable,
Yeah,
but only turns into a field goal.
Yeah,
which is always
Stafford gets the ball back, and I think this is the one where he gets Vita Vea takes him down.
Yeah, that was big.
Big Vita
Big
was playing
third
hard.
down, and then this is the gut punch at the start of the game. So Stafford with the underthrown ball to Cooper Kupp slows down.
Underthrown ball, the best play in football.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally unguardable. Cooper Kupp. Wow.
Yeah.
Mike Edwards
But
wasn't the
wide
only
open.
one. Wasn't the only one, but Mike Edwards had
a lot of
terrible
bad
first
safety
half.
play this weekend for sure. So
Murphy bunting
Oh
and
my
Edwards.
God, the Chiefs.
Mike Evans went crazy. So he gets 3. I think he gets like 3 catches on this drive.
He's so good, and I know we know that, and Bucs fans know how lucky they are to have him. But oh my God, is he good, and does he show up when it matters?
But this is the third catch for Mike Evans and the penalty that takes it away. Von Miller hits him in the head. Brady's all over the ref after this. He's bleeding after this as well.
And Brady gets called.
Yeah.
Well, this throw is
backs it up with this.
That
Fournette.
throw is when I tweeted goat activated, like because I just felt like okay, he's all pissed off.
Yeah.
And he bounces one in the dirt here, and they got to try to settle for a field goal here. I'm pretty sure, but I think they missed this one.
Yeah, 48 yarder. Special teams were a big issue, right? The Bucs struggled in all 3 phases in the first half, every possible way you could imagine. But the special team side of it was really bad.
Yeah.
You're just not doing yourself any favors.
It's so debilitating missing a field goal like that because it's no points. You don't get to kick off. Then you're starting their drive with good field position, right? It just hurts you in so many ways.
This is when it felt like the game was like okay, maybe there's no chance for the Bucs. Take a sack, and then Brady gets a little. Doesn't see the coverage. Yeah, the safety comes out of nowhere.
He made a great play.
Open. Yeah, it's a great play.
He made a great play, and then luckily the MVP of the game for the Bucs here, Cam Akers, fumbles.
Oh my God!
Without him, it's not even a game, right? So this was just beyond huge going into halftime.
Really close.
7-3.
Ball moves just before his helmet goes down.
I thought that was tough.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So
I thought
here,
it was.
pick it up in the second
I thought it
half.
was out of his hand though. Like
Yeah,
before it hit.
Yeah.
But not so clear. But I agree.
Enough.
I had to put
just
Devin
enough
White's
to
first
overturn.
pass breakup of the
Yeah.
season in that one.
Corey Hall on Facebook says first TD was White's fault. Yeah, he left, as usual, his eyes get all big when he sees the quarterback roll out, and he'll just abandon any assignment, which happened there.
Very frustrating.
Yeah, so Odell made a big play, and then Stafford gets it on the sneak. The Bucs try to answer here. Gronk with a big catch.
But they settled for 3 here.
Yeah, they had to settle for 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the theme, the Bucs O-line they had their worst game like this as expected, but it was.
Yeah.
This is the second time that this happened too. Hey, they kicks out of bounds.
Well, that's what I'm talking about with the special teams, man.
Never saw that before.
Is there any play in football that's more unforgivable than kicking the ball out of bounds? Okay, here we got the fumble once again.
But
kept them in the game,
at least you get this play right off of it.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp over the middle.
Literally
somehow
the
gets some
play,
slippery hands. SMB gets to take it back a bit.
We don't have to talk about every little one. We can just, because I want to say like what you just said, Scott, the field goal the kickoff stuff, like that's like airballing a free throw twice in a game.
Oh yeah.
And what are you trying to even do? Like, it's pretty hard to, pin someone into the corner if that's what you're trying to accomplish. Like, just either pooch it or try to kick a sky ball to the 5 so you have more time to get down there and cover it, or kick it out of the end zone. Like, it's just insane.
Especially after
you have the whole width of the field.
Especially after it happened once.
And let's face it, everybody hates the kicker anyway. Right?
Yeah.
So they have come off, and it's like, oh, you just did that? Good job, dickhead.
And Pinion's our punter. He's had a terrible season as a punter. Really bad year.
Crazy.
I can't see him being back.
That
was a gift.
Well, this is right after that sack fumble too.
That was when
no idea what's going on. Then it felt like the Rams. It was just turning on the Rams.
That was when I got hope. That was when I got hope.
Like, this stuff doesn't happen. Like, this
doesn't happen to the team that's going to win usually.
Yeah,
it was,
and it's 30 yards. Like, holy shit! And then they get nothing out of it? Yeah. Oh my god. Just
no. I think they get something out of this. I think.
No.
They get that stack, and then they went for it on 4th. I think they convert this. No,
this is the.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah, where of course I, like most Bucs fans, assumed then that was going to be a spot foul. The ball's going to be put there like PI, but because the ball
barely touches the ground beforehand.
Oh my god, that was just insane, man.
But this just shows you how weird of a game it was. You have a taunting penalty on Tom Brady. This call, your kicker kicks it out of bounds twice. Like, it's just hard to win with all this shit.
Yeah,
it is.
As a fan. And when you actually have a good team that you cheer for, you just want the game to be as normal as possible, and then you hope that your good team plays better than the other team, right? And then this just wasn't a normal game. Also, what's going on here? When he left this short, I thought like something was wrong with the TV.
Yeah, I couldn't see that either. Yeah,
I didn't watch it all the way through. I was like, oh, that's in line. It's obviously good. He's not that deep.
I saw a tweet that was like 47-yard field goal left short. It's like it's Tuesday night, and I'm watching Ball State versus Bowling Green. It's like, that happens in college, but oh my goodness. Oh, and then this is just when Evans takes over the game.
It's Scotty Miller with the big catch on the sideline. Yeah, I think Evans starts going crazy right here.
It is still when he does that, though. Oh my god, this is when I was.
Boom.
My children
bullying Jalen Ramsey.
My children are terrified of me today from this play.
I can't imagine why.
Terrified of me. The baby won't even come near me.
It's so nuts. It's and they don't have any timeouts left either, right? So it's still just the one first down thing. And look, he was going to get 8 yards on that play, and then boom, Sue makes the play.
So at that point, not only did I have hope, I was like, we're winning this game. There's too much stuff is going on here. This is just fate. This is Tom Brady fate. But we're winning, right? So this is when I had gone from thinking there was no chance to then getting hope to then at this point thinking we're winning this game.
Yeah.
And then this is
some big conversions.
The call on 4th that's coming up here, I thought was fantastic. I thought
unbelievable call. Yeah.
I thought they might move it up. But for him to go off tackle, it was ballsy. It was a ballsy play call because you got the best quarterback sneaker in the history of the sport.
Wait. That wasn't the call. Look at him. He bounced that out on himself.
I'm saying to not do a quarterback sneak.
Oh,
but yeah.
Like
but I don't know if the play call is for Fournette to go to the. I think Scott's right. I think Fournette was supposed to go inside there.
Yeah,
and he just bounced it outside.
And
sure, okay, yeah, but they didn't call the quarterback sneak, which I think everyone expected. Is all I'm
okay,
getting.
Fair enough.
Cooper Kupp back to back.
But
back to back. Last one on Antoine Winfield Jr. Just I can't think of a worse way for this game to end.
The funny thing is, though, just to get back. All right, so we're gonna see the dagger through the hearts here. But Fournette scored and left 42 seconds on the clock. It's funny because if they do just get the yard, then that's probably another 2 plays and even less time on. I mean, I'm not saying Fournette shouldn't have scored. I'm just being like hindsight. You just don't need that much time to get into field goal range, right? Like it's really not difficult. So,
I thought the timing was working out perfectly. It being like under a minute. I was just you're right, Scotty. But at first it was like I don't want to leave him too much time. And when it got to 46, I was happy with that little amount of time. I was like, I feel pretty good here. Need a couple stops. The D with a bunch of miracles, we're getting those stops in the second half. But obviously,
and I don't mean to be armchair nitpicking guy or whatever. Obviously, you Fournette scores there. I'm not saying that. It's just like when there was still over 40 seconds, I'm thinking that's like 6 plays to get 35 yards. It's just not that. It's just not that hard. Like it's just not. We see it all the time. How many times teams get into field goal range at the end, and obviously they way exceeded that. What did they get down to almost the 10-yard line or whatever, right? But I had a bad feeling when Fournette walked in there just because of the weirdness of the game. I thought we needed a Stafford pick, which was kind of felt was coming just with all the turnovers and the fact that he hadn't thrown one yet. But man, what a game! What a good great job by the Bucs not to give up. 27-3. Now, granted, the Rams really aided that, namely Sean McVay and Cam Akers. Oh my God. I don't know what happened to McVay in the second half. Went into a coma.
Some really fast 3-and-outs.
3-and-out, just killer. Absolutely killer. And obviously, Akers putting the ball on the ground. But, one team had to lose, right? One team had to lose, and it just happened to be Tampa. They easily could have won.
For sure, and it felt straight up lucky to be in that position.
Of
but
course.
that doesn't change the fact that once you're there, it's like a new game. So you can still pick when there's one play. There's going to be a time when you can call it out, and even for Todd Bowles, even for potentially the most aggressive defensive coordinator over the last 10 years, along with like Spagnuolo or whoever, to go cover 0 there when they needed to cover so much ground with such little time, and to send Sean Murphy Bunting, right, your slot corner on a blitz, and take him out of a prevent situation. Like, what the hell is Sean Murphy Bunting going to do anyway? Sue almost got to him on that play on his own. Sue had a great game in the end. Like he had a few really big plays.
Yeah, after that big penalty at the start, he was lights out. Even on that penalty, it wasn't much.
He forced that fumble to give him a chance, and
but if you're Todd Bowles, man, like that, if you're gonna do that, and then you leave Winfield on an island with one of the best receiving players in the history based on this season, coming full speed at you, on your own, no help. I mean, props to Stafford for hanging in there and just going for it, because breaking down that it's like a dagger route, they call it. I forget what they call it in McVay's offense, but that's meant to just be a clear out at that point for a guy coming underneath on like a dig or an in. And Stafford went and just hit Kupp because they obviously saw they had the one-on-one with the safety, which is it is a mismatch with that head of steam going for Cooper Kupp.
Of course. And
Winfield got left on an island, and you don't hear many people calling out Winfield because it's not really his fault, man. Bowles put him in that situation, and I'm a huge Bowles guy. Like, I'm not just piling on here for the sake of it or trying to find an excuse. Like I said, I didn't think we had much. I had no hope for the majority of the game, but they got there. They got to that spot. It felt like fate wanted them to be there, and then I feel like that strategic decision was just so costly in the moment that hung him out to dry and lost him the game.
Yeah, it really did. And whatever. can't change your stripes and like, Bowles is aggressive, but that man, I don't know. I mean, I guess if it's one of those, if it works, it's great, and if it doesn't, then you're getting killed for it, right? So easier said than done, or easy to comment after the fact. But I still think you just play them, keep them in front of you, and make them have to make a play or kick a really long field goal to beat you, right?
Exactly. You have to. Yes, doesn't matter. Exactly. And I
Yeah.
mean, we're also talking like it was discussed everywhere, including here ad nauseum. You're talking about the best quarterback against the blitz in the NFL this year. Like Stafford has just eaten blitzes for breakfast.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. Like, so at the first 6 drives of the game, Next Gen Stats is all over it. The Bucs defense blitzed Stafford on more than half of his dropbacks to start the game, and Stafford started 6 for 7, 57 yards and a TD versus the blitz, and they basically dropped their blitz rate from 64% at the start of the game in the first 2 drives to 14% on the 4 drives after that. Like, it was noticeable, the difference when he's facing a blitz.
And I'll give Bowles credit, I guess, for adjusting, but like we called it going in, right? That was one of my big questions. And Scott said, I don't think he's going to change his way. I remember it. So obviously Scott was right to start. And I was thinking, no, he's going to do the KC thing. He's smart enough. He obviously,
but he was finding some success with it in the second half. I think I texted you at some point. I was like, Stafford was like regressing a little bit against the blitz at the start of the second half, but it doesn't excuse it. What's coming.
Yeah, and the Rams weren't like helping Stafford out by just running on first and second down every single time, right? Like they were throwing the ball on first down almost every time in the first half, and look at how easily they were moving the ball. So,
and I was
not to discredit the Bucs, but
and we got to have a name for it, whatever it is. What the opposing fans don't want you to, or they do want you to do. Pardon me.
Yeah,
and that's what I wanted them to do, was hand the ball to Akers predictably up the middle.
Yeah, of course.
And they just kept doing it, and I was like, oh my god. So you're right, Scotty.
24 touches for Akers in the run game yesterday. Like,
crazy. You were on. I thought the 17 and a half was ambitious.
I know. 13 and a half it was in the first half.
They didn't use Sony at all.
Pretty tough look from Michelle. Yeah, I was just about to say that. The guy coming off of the Achilles is just completely out touching you. It'd be interesting to see what the trust factor is in this next game against the Niners with those running backs. Because, I know fumbles are kind of random or whatever, but that's tough. That's tough to give Akers the ball, I would say, in a championship game like this coming up. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty miraculous comeback by Akers as we talked about on our Friday show. But yeah,
I'm like cautious to even ask you this now, but like coming out of that game, I'm sure you've watched every post game presser they had.
Me?
How are you feeling?
I haven't watched anything.
You didn't watch anything?
Okay. I haven't watched anything. Highlight. I almost missed the whole first quarter of the Bills Chiefs game, dude. I was very off after that. Like, it really messed me up.
It sucks.
As pathetic as that sounds, I was like, I'm going to put my daughter to bed. Like, Avery was cheering with me, and the worst part was, that's my 3.5-year-old. She loves, because I was going nuts. Like, I scared the baby, like I said. So Avery runs down in the middle of dinner and just starts cheering with me like crazy. And superstitiously, I thought for a second, I'm like, you got to get out of here. Like, things were going great. But then I was like, no, it's not.
No, I would have said the same thing. I would have been like, changing the clock. It's bedtime.
Yeah. So then she continued to cheer when Stafford completed the pass to Cup. And I'm just like,
oh, no.
It weirdly made it worse.
Yeah. That would.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. So I just needed to get away from NFL for a minute. I tuned into the Chiefs Bills game when Singletary ran it in, and then put Avery to bed.
So I think that's a pretty good breakdown of the game. Obviously, they easily could have won. They didn't come out firing, and that killed them. But Call, what's your big takeaway from the season? 13-4. Brady obviously was one of the top 2 MVP candidates. I think you can make a really good argument that at full health, it's the best team in the league, maybe one of the 2 best teams in the league anyway. I mean, it's not like it's a bad season. It's just there's obviously it's not a bad season. It's just there are good teams and it's hard to win in this league. So like what's your ultimate takeaway?
That you need luck no matter how good you are. And,
Yes.
that's a huge one. And that
I look at the Chiefs.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that that character matters as well. And as much as you can blind yourself to it when you see it, talent, character still prevails in the end. And I just think of the difference between someone like Mike Evans and Antonio Brown. Obviously, like AB ended up not being worth it, as tantalizing as it was to see him in
Night
there.
and day.
Yeah.
And whatever, they cut bait. Like, I don't even hold it against them. I would have brought him in. I would have re-signed him too, just like, Jason Light, and they did. And the Bucs have built a really strong locker room. Based off high character guys. They love being around each other. They love the team. They love their teammates. Sorry. So that's important. And I think that the biggest takeaway though, this year combined with last year, is that the championship DNA has been established within this franchise now, because they have these expectations and they understand what it takes to win. Unfortunately, the biggest contributor to that is 44 years old. And now there's all the rumblings that it might've been his last game. I don't believe it is. I don't believe it is. I don't know. I think he's playing too well and he loves this sport so much. You've come this far. Your
100% agree.
Like you're gonna give it one more at least. I think. I hope.
What's the difference between 44 and 45? Like,
I guess you'd have to ask a 44-year-old or a 45-year-old.
Yeah, I know, but I just mean, like, look at what he did this year. Really, we're really worried. It's not like people want to make the Peyton Manning comparisons. Manning had like fusion surgery on his back that affected his ability to throw. That's not happening here. It's not even close.
Yeah, because it was a physical ailment, which is the case most often, right? In Brady's case, his arm looks like as live as ever.
Yeah.
It really
is like statistically just as good as it was when he 10 to 20 years ago. Like, it's insane.
And if you consider how much smarter he's gotten every year at this point, it's just like he's like he's in his prime.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He's not I think I said it at when we were previewing the team. Like, it doesn't feel like a Tom Brady drop off is ever going to come. Like, he's just so good.
And I'm just hoping because we all know he's a psycho competitor, right? It's part of what makes him so special. So I think him being that, and it's not like this team's going to be blown up. Like, they have the potential to bring back some of these guys. They'll have to lose some. It won't be quite like last year, but they can put an extremely competitive roster together. And just to tie it back to the character thing I was talking about, like how character really matters, and that was one of the realizations I came to this season. Chris Godwin, you pay the man, you bring him back, because he is super high character as well. Obviously an incredibly productive receiver. So hopefully you can get him back in a $17 million range.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've already opened Pandora's box. Are there two different scenarios if you're Jason Light of what your roster building, your team building looks like this summer, whether 12 resigns or comes back or not?
Very interesting. I think I think the effect of it is inevitably the players' willingness to come back will be affected by Brady foremost, right? And so say Brady were to retire, but Godwin came back and Fournette came back on an affordable deal and Jensen re-signed and all that. Then I think Light's going to say, all right, we're going to make a play for someone here. We're going to ship future picks, which he doesn't like to get rid of, and try and make a play for one of the free agent quarterbacks or something. Because I think he believes in the core around Brady still, right? They're not running out Kyle Trask or Gabbert realistically. No. But again, it still all hinges on Brady, of course. Because if he's not back, then you're going to plan B and plan C. So I mean, I don't know what kind of answer that is to your question, but it's all
hard to say right now. It's hard to say
because it all stems around Tom Brady, though. That's what until we know what he's doing.
I can't imagine that he's done unless he just, for whatever reason, happens to be over it. I don't think he's physically done at all.
Definitely not physically. That's
if he decided that was enough, Bill Simmons, such an idiot, I just saw a clip on Twitter today saying this is the perfect way to go out. Why is this the perfect way to go out? on any planet. What is that? I don't get that at all.
See, and
They won
I
the fucking Super Bowl last year. Like that might be a way to go out.
yeah.
I don't know.
There's no greater indication that I don't rip on people for having an opinion who didn't play sports, but there's no greater indication he never played sports competitively than that. Like for him to act like that would be the best way for Brady to go out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think he's trying to say like you could blame it on like they got unlucky, that type of thing. It's like I don't know where you could, as a guy that's been following Brady from like the inception of his career, like how are you even coming to this conclusion that he would think that that's the perfect way to go out?
Because he's a Pats fan, right? He's a diehard Pats fan.
And
whether he wants
he's like trying to pile it on,
and more so, he just doesn't want Brady's legacy to extend any further beyond New England. I think so. I just
keep winning Super Bowls elsewhere. Yeah.
So I think that's his low key bias that maybe he hasn't even recognized, but I would imagine that's why. Because I certainly wouldn't interpret it that way. I think that would make Brady's fire burn hotter, and the incredible amount of injuries, the magnitude of the injuries, the timeliness of them this year was. Like it was an anomaly even in the National Football League. It was insane.
Yeah.
So Brady knows that too, right? Like, I don't know. They need depth in a few places. Obviously, they didn't have the receiver depth that we all thought, because when you're 1B and third best receiver, some of the best in the game, both go down, people weren't able to step up. And Scotty Miller looked good when he finally got a chance yesterday. It took all that for him to get a chance. It's kind of peculiar, man. Like, I'm just curious about the Scotty Miller thing, because he looked pretty good. He was the only other guy, it seemed, who had a little juice to him yesterday.
Tyler Johnson had that one catch near in the red zone, but he was not reliable throughout that game.
He's always going to drop or do nothing with his first like 4 targets, it seems, and then he'll start to catch enough for. It's so weird. He looks nothing like.
He's always looking at his hands and stuff. I don't really like what you see from him, to be honest. I think he's got a lot of talent, but like, I don't know, kind of always looking around as to what happens. Like, yeah, you dropped it, bro. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that's what happened on the play.
Yeah, like, and he doesn't look into it. It's bizarre. Like, because him at Minnesota, I was like ecstatic when we got him in the 5th round. I thought it was a steal. We all know
we've all played with the guys who need however much time to like actually get into the game. Like, they don't start the game as if they're into it, but kind of tough to be a productive receiver in the NFL if you're like that. And especially because then you're just not going to get the targets. So good luck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially in this offense.
Yeah. And with Tom Brady, like, Jesus, he's going to throw to whoever's going to catch the ball.
Yeah. So, the most interesting question, like, was already asked, is just what do they do next? And I think it all hinges on Brady. And but I think the organization believes they have enough high quality pieces in place to continue to compete, at least for the very near future, for next season. And I think they'll try and do everything they can to, keep that stability intact as much as they can.
If it's not a free agent quarterback, if it's not one of the guys that are rumored to be out there, and you're going after a free agent quarterback, it seems like Tyrod Taylor would legitimately be the only other option out there.
Like from the medium tier kind of thing.
Well, like those other guys are still under contract, right? Like if we're talking about Rodgers and Russell Wilson, like I don't think they're forcing their way out of their situations, or a Deshaun Watson or something like that. But like of the guys that are like free agents, and you can just sign like unrestricted, like Tyrod Taylor would probably be the top of the list.
Yeah,
but Andy Dalton, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, like
Brady's coming back. Don't worry.
I know it gets bleak. I know. I didn't want to open this can of worms, but like,
no,
well, if Rodgers or Wilson wants to go to Tampa, then that'll just get figured out. Like the NFL contracts mean nothing. So
true.
I know what you're saying. Obviously, it's just
like if they don't,
how it'll go.
Yeah. So I'll do we'll do some off-season wish list episodes when the time comes and we get a little more clarity on that. Whitehead, free agent, Carlton Davis, free agent, Ryan Jensen, free agent, Alex Kappa, free agent. And they've already used some of those voidable years. So they're not gonna be able to keep everyone again. but they will have some wiggle room at least to bring some of those guys back. And I think Whitehead and Jensen are at the top of my list. I think they'll franchise tag Carlton Davis probably. Show that he can do it. He missed, he tore his quad this year. He missed a big chunk of the year. He's 100% their best corner. So, lots to be done. Like Corey Hall in the comments says, Kappa, OJ, Rojo gone. Exactly. So there will be space cleared up. Rojo and OJ Howard's rookie deals expiring, and Kappa for that matter. Kappa will be a desirable player for a lot of people, for a lot of franchises, but we're gonna have to re-sign Stinney cheaper, or maybe Robert Hainsey, the guy they drafted out of Notre Dame, will be ready. I don't know, but he's a guy who I think is going to have to be a casualty in order to bring someone like Jensen back or Whitehead. So anyway, we don't need to talk about that right now. Just kind of a little Cole's notes on it. I don't know what else there is to say. I feel like all the Bucs fans are in this similar mood that I am. Shout out to our guy Corey Hall here, giving us some energy. Thank you, bro.
Yeah, I know it's tough.
Yeah, but whatever. It is
the postmortem. Yeah,
it was still a fun year because we were talking about one of the best teams in the league, and just on Tom Brady's performance alone, it was absolutely invigorating despite all the things that went down. And I think I just think that the players showed a lot of fight yesterday, even though a lot of things had to go their way. I think that's inspired by Tom Brady at the top, but I already think that that's really manifested itself in all these other guys too. And the other guy is Levante David. Seeing how pissed he was early on, he threw his helmet. There's one time I didn't even care. I'm like, good, Levante's that pissed. Like, that's going to wake some people up.
Yeah.
Levante David is like my Tom Brady of like this team. Like
he is Levante. Tampa Bay. Yeah.
I love that guy so much. Like he's putting together low-key a Hall of Fame career, and I hope it ends up there. But he's still playing at such a high level. I know he's a little hurt right now, but he's the heartbeat of the other side of the ball.
Truly is.
So anyway, I think there was so much football this weekend, though, that was so insane. I don't know if you guys want to take us through or where you want to start in terms of the other game, but I'm going to kind of let one of you guys take over the host role so I can just.
Well, just the last thing on the Bucs, like, it was great to talk about them all year, and we're obviously gonna have a lot to talk about in the offseason. It's just sad. Like it's sad. Yeah. Like, you watch a team all year, they're really good, and you lose a heartbreaking game. Like, that really sucks. And we're gonna get into that with three more teams and three more fan bases here, obviously, because all four games were just incredible and nail biting and down to the last play or overtime, or obviously, which is the last play, but still. But the Cincinnati-Tennessee game, to start us off, was pretty wild, and it was like rungs below the other three on the ladder of insanity. You know what I mean? Like, just not even close.
Seemed like a normal game now.
Seemed like a normal game relative, even though, like, big turnovers, like Derrick Henry getting stopped on 4th and 1, the fact that they went for 2 earlier in the game and he didn't get it, and just wow, like, I think since Burrow got sacked 9 times and they win the game, like, how does that even happen? And obviously the lead up into that matchup was, are they going to have time to protect Burrow and get the ball down the field? And so, like, not really.
Yeah,
but
I think
they won.
I saw a tweet, and I think it encompasses exactly where Titans fans should be right now. It said, Mike Vrabel can't say this, but Ryan Tannehill completely, like, oh, did I decide what jersey? Oh, okay, come on, Woody. He said,
football or basketball.
I know, yeah, true. I'll go football, I think.
Shout out Brian Wood real quick, though. Him and Bo made a bet during the last show. Dundas local, where we grew up. So Brian Wood's a Bengals fan also. So congrats to you, Woody, on that.
Yeah, that was a huge win.
Yeah. Sorry, Bo. Keep going.
Yeah. You said that Mike Vrabel can't say this, but Ryan Tannehill single-handedly lost this game for them. Tannehill throws a pick, his first throw of the game, his first throw of the second half, and his last throw of the game.
Wow.
Like, insane. Like, it just, and like, for a game plan that really shouldn't have been that complicated against the Bengals. Like, the runs were actually working, even when it wasn't Derrick Henry in there. That the Freeman kid was gashing them, And then just getting it over the crossers to Julio Jones and AJ Brown was completely fine. A few shots to AJ Brown every once in a while too. Like I don't get what he was seeing on, and a lot of the time, like the picks that he threw weren't to those guys. So it's like, if you're forcing the ball anywhere, why aren't you forcing it to those guys?
The screen pass out in the flat that got tipped
Oh my
up
God.
in the air. Like, I mean,
he completely resigned to it. He's like, whatever. They're just going to knock this down. It's just like, well, they could tip it up too.
That's a bit of a tough break, but the first throw of the game, it was like so jarring. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was, I don't know, eating or grabbing a beer or something like that. I was like, holy shit. Okay, the Bengals now have the ball in plus territory. Like, great start.
What a prefacing of things to come, eh? Like, what a welcome to the divisional round. We get that first pass picked. You're just like, right away. That feeling never stopped the rest of the weekend.
No. And that's in like we're in for something here. And the fans, they only gave up 3, which obviously not the end of the world, but the fans are so jacked up. They get to host the playoff game. If they win, they get to host the AFC title game, and then pick first play. Oh, great! Like, what a start! And I guess it was kind of like Collin said, a harbinger for things to come. Pretty great atmosphere, though. I thought, like Tennessee, they really brought it. It was They
were just waiting. They were just like, we need something to cheer for, and like Tannehill just kept on robbing them of it.
Well, I think I mentioned it on the Friday pod too. It's like they put on for those Predators in the Titans playoff games. That's for sure. Right? Like they don't mess around. So that was fun to watch. All 4 atmospheres were actually pretty great, obviously. But man, like a couple huge turning points in that game. Obviously, like I mentioned, Tennessee deciding to go for 2 when they had the penalty on what would have been the extra point. So to try to make it 8-6, and that affects
no idea why.
I think it's just like an expected value thing. You now have the ball on the 1, and you have Derrick Henry, and if you can put up an extra point, you're supposed to do it. I'm whatever. Like if that's what the math says, I'm cool with it. I was actually texting with my buddy today, and I was just it's surprising because most teams or a lot of these coaches would be like, got to take the lead, which whatever. It's probably not analytically disgusting to go up 7-6 there, but I mean, hats off to Vrabel, I suppose, if the move technically is to go for 2 there, but that was a big stop. And Burrow, I thought, didn't have a great game, but he's tough as nails. Like, he hung in there as much as possible to give them a chance. Couple big throws on that game-winning drive. And just a killer pick at the end from Tannehill when it really looked like they had the momentum to go in and win the game. So, like we said, fun game. Bengals are probably the more fun team to play this championship game against Kansas City. We obviously just saw them either just before or just after Christmas beat them at home. So, what a start. What a start to the weekend.
For sure. And then grudge match at Lambeau to follow that up, obviously, right? In the snow.
Like
the Rodgers
for like the last game, like who you can't even put a bow on like how insane those 2 quarterbacks were. But like the performance of the weekend for me was the San Francisco's defense. Like I just had never wanted a defense to win a game so badly before.
Man, with how bad the offense was playing and the killer pick by Garoppolo at the end of the first half, just all that for them to keep them in the game while only having 3 points through the first 3.5 quarters against Aaron Rodgers at home, because Green Bay had only scored 10, is just such a testament to how well the Niners played. And then it finally paid off with one of the biggest plays ever when that block punt happened.
Oh my God.
And I mean, obviously the ball wasn't going far no matter where it was, but it felt like it was in the air for 15 seconds and it could have been anywhere. And then it came down just perfectly for San Fran to return it and run it in. This was like jarring shit to watch on TV. It was like watching an episode of Euphoria.
Dude, when you watch that game, right, Colin?
Yeah, but I was like so geared up for Sunday. I had quite a few drinks by that point in the evening, so it was a bit of a blur.
Going into, I guess, when it ended and you realized who won the game, were you like, okay, that's actually a pretty good matchup for the Bucks?
I was
You're feeling-
ecstatic. I told you
Yeah,
last
feeling
week
really good,
I'd
yeah.
rather play the Niners than the Rams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Plus, then it's at home.
But even
Exactly.
after
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
that, you were like, oh, this team's beatable.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, good for the Niners, but they pulled one out of their absolute ass to win that game. Like,
Yeah, true.
Garoppolo was bad. Kittle with a few big drops. They
Yeah.
needed
Debo
a mini-
looked banged up. Trent Williams looked banged up too.
but then
But
Debo
it looks
made
like they're
every
gonna
play.
No, they are both banged up. Like
Yeah,
Trent
Debo
Williams'
made the
ankle.
play. Debo is absolutely amazing.
He's a cheat code.
He's just unreal. And so
That's like one of the few guys in the league that you're like, outside of our quarterback, if this guy is on the field, we are a different team. Like
Yeah.
it's just game after
Yep.
game, he proves it.
It's a football weapon.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what he is. Just a weapon.
yeah, 100%. No,
It's that much
kidding.
harder when you don't know what he's going to do to you, right? It's not as, at least like with certain players who are limited to one position, you can at least somewhat predict how they're going to try to attack you. But with Debo, they could run him 16 times or, put him anywhere. And then you combine that with Shanahan's creativity, like pre-snap and the way he moves guys around and the deception angle of his scheme. It's just it's a match made in heaven. He uses them, man. He uses them properly. Who knows if Debo was playing for
oh my God, yeah,
a different offense, what we'd be talking about him, right? Would he just be
Imagine if he was in Seattle or something.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, kill me.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
I
They
was
had
gonna
him
say, what if
returning
Percy
kicks,
Harvin
too.
was in San Francisco?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
think
good
Urban
call.
Meyer in Jacksonville, Urban Meyer probably would have used him well, Scotty.
Oh.
He's got that Percy
Well,
Harvin experience.
Yeah, he would have kicked him or something. Yeah, something super normal. Yeah, but and then Shanahan had Debo returning some kicks too, just to give him the ball, get him the ball in space any way possible, and he had a big return, kind of similar to what happened with Tyreek Hill with the big punt return against the Bills in the Sunday night game there. But you just have to give the ball to your best player, and he also on 3rd and 7. So like to make sure that they could run the clock down to kick a last second field goal. It was like a 9-yard run where Debo was just trucking guys, made a move, and just incredible. Just it's so valuable to have him, and he was awesome to watch. And obviously the Packers could have won the game. They left some points out there. They had a field goal blocked at the end of the first half that gave the Niners some momentum. I think that they to stay in the game. But the Packers were a little fraudulent. I think we mentioned their point differential and what their expected win total would have been closer to 11-6, based on like we said in the regular season, based on that point differential and everything. But still easily could have won that game and easily could have been hosting the NFC Championship game next week. But wasn't meant to be. I enjoy the Niners more. I'm glad they won, and they have to be feeling pretty comfortable about going into the not so hostile SoFi Stadium to play the Rams this week. Like that's about as familiar a place as possible for any road team in the league, right?
Did you see the stuff I saw it on Twitter today? Whitworth's wife was on Twitter being like, "Hey, Rams fans, do not sell your tickets to 49ers fans. Like, I'll buy them." And I think Frank Gore quote tweeted her, replied to it and was like, "Actually, I'll buy them. I'll buy any Rams tickets." Yeah.
Didn't you guys
That's
see
funny.
the actual Rams organization was using like a area code thing or zip code restrictions?
Wow, really?
On the sale of their tickets, yeah. So they've been getting ripped on for it, obviously, because
It's so silly because there's way more Niners fans in LA than there are Rams fans. Like
for sure.
The Rams just got there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, even from the game that ended the regular season, the home field advantage is going to be almost nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like seriously, it's going to be
Well, we
like
saw
a
it all.
bowl game.
Yeah, seriously, we saw it all weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you had a Super Bowl future on the Chiefs, should you be paid out for it for the game last night? Because that sure as hell felt like the Super Bowl to me. Would have been a great one.
just unreal. Just
what a display! But like those offenses, both were just clicking on literally all cylinders to the point where if your expectations was like LeBron versus Jordan in an NBA Finals, like performing at their peak, it was like they both just delivered. Like all the big guys delivered, except Diggs, but they had Gabriel Davis, who looked like the best receiver in the world on the Bills side of things.
Literally the best receiver ever to play postseason football.
Insane game for him. But Josh Allen was out of control. And of course, Mahomes was as well. But that game could have gone on forever. It was just like two neighborhood studs, like vying for 5-star status in the same district. And they were just going toe to toe. Like it was like being a kid, man. It looked like their greatness was just, it wasn't about as much about scheme or strategy. It was just two great players giving them the ball and then making shit happen. And they just kept doing it with all the odds stacked against them and the clock stacked against them. The clock wasn't real. They transcended time, both of them.
It really wasn't. And like to think that the Chiefs, like I think everyone was talking about, okay, the Chiefs are like their defense is actually better and everything. They lose Tyrann Mathieu at like what was it, the first play of the game, first drive of the game at least? Like,
but I didn't realize that losing Tyrann Mathieu meant that you couldn't play with anyone in the middle of the field.
Now you just have 10 players. Yeah.
Like you're allowed to put someone else out there. I've never seen like the middle of the field be so open in the secondary. It was incredible. A couple of the touchdowns, like Davis didn't have anyone within 8 yards of him. And you know, not to take anything away, but with the way that was going, if the Chiefs pass rush didn't get home, the Bills were making a play. That was what was happening. It wasn't like Allen had a few great throws, like a couple tight little crossers over the middle to the unvaxxed god Cole Beasley and stuff like that. But those touchdown passes were literal practice throws because they were just so wide open, it's always so jarring to see because you like obviously the camera's on the quarterback and then it pans to wherever the ball's going. It's like, oh, there's no one there. Like that he's scoring. That was unreal. But like where to start in the game. I mean, the Chiefs leave 4 points on the board. They miss a field goal to end the first half. They miss the extra point to go up 24-14, so it's 23-14. And then the Bills score on the next play on that bomb, right? So it's 23-21. I thought there were a couple punting on fourth down blunders by both coaches, I thought, in the second half, in the third quarter, I suppose. But when Tyreek Hill returned that punt to, I think, let's say that it was the 17 or something like that. They run it twice, and then on 3rd and 1, they do the quarterback option, but with Kelsey under center.
Yeah. And it's like for -8 yards or something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So it becomes 4th and 4, and I couldn't believe that, like, that whole sequence was just insane. I think you just go for it on 4th and 4 anyway. In a game where your defense can't stop anyone. Yeah. The value in going up 5 is like 0. Obviously, it limits them to, so a field goal doesn't take the lead or whatever for Buffalo. But that whole sequence was absolutely crazy. Of course, Buffalo marches down and scores. What's going to get lost in this game is that 2-point conversion was absolutely crazy. Allen keeps the play alive, and that little flip to Diggs in the back of the end zone, who made a great catch to go up 3. But that was like the 13th craziest thing in the entire game, or in the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter.
I think you said we got some fourth quarter or fourth down blunders or whatever. I actually wanted to give Sean McDermott a little bit of a shout out here because he came out of there like guns blazing. He realized I'm playing the Chiefs for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, but
they went 4 for 4, 4 for 4 on fourth downs too, right?
Yeah, he did in the first half, and then it was 4.
Yeah, and the second half was a little bit different. Yeah,
and then in the second half, it gets a little tighter, and he couldn't pull the trigger. It was like 4th and half a yard, and he kicked it away. Kansas City comes down and scores. Obviously, it didn't kill him that much because then Buffalo, like we said, Buffalo scored on the next play. But that was, I know you're on your own 35 or something like that, but you have Josh Allen. Guess what? The odds are he's going to get a half a yard there. You can't kick it away. And it came back to bite him. So Obviously, it was considerably better than the debacle of his coaching last year in the championship game against KC. He was definitely more aggressive, but I think he needed to turn it up one more notch. Sorry, where do you want? Okay, so the Tyreek Hill touchdown is insane to go up 4.
How did you feel about that, Biz?
Sorry?
How did you feel about the Tyreek Hill touchdown when they went up 4 and he did the?
Oh my God! Well, I obviously had flashbacks, and just in general, I wanted to. I went.
Oh yeah.
But no, like I don't blame him.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, man, he's such a crazy dynamic athlete. I thought it was more badass when they put him on the punt return and he did it, and then they replayed the down, like they accepted the penalty and replayed it, and then he just did it again because he's so dynamic. You got to get him out there, but he's so fast. He's doing it to a guy between him and the end zone, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And the guy's in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to pass you."
In all honesty, like as a Bucs fan, like we got our revenge for the deuces. Like he can keep rocking his deuces. That is his thing, and he's just an electric athlete. Like that's all there is to say.
I thought they were going to get him for taunting.
Well,
I thought so too. How was it not?
A lot of people talk about that. A lot of people talk about that today, and it's true. Like, because if you look at some of the taunting calls
the NFL likes that. The NFL thinks that's cool when the offensive player does it. They're like, "Oh, that's awesome."
Well, and as much as we discuss referees getting overly involved and often ruining games, especially in the NFL, right? Like, those referees didn't mess shit up. So good for that crew in that game for the most part. Like there weren't any major debatable calls, or they didn't throw many flags, I guess.
Yeah, no, they didn't steal the spotlight or really determine the game, which was nice. I think it's also in large part because the secondaries for both teams weren't near any receivers, so it's not like there was any potential big pass interference calls coming down the stretch. But just, oh my goodness, like when Tyreek Hill scored, I thought the only way the Chiefs win is if the Bills turn the ball over, because a minute 2. All the time in the world for them to score, which they did, obviously. 13 seconds, and Buffalo kicks the ball through the end zone, which is just unforgivable. You just absolutely cannot do that. It's not even a debate either.
You got to squib that sucker.
You got to squib it. It's 6 seconds per play. If they have to field that, it knocks it down, and they literally just don't.
It's one play.
They don't have the opportunity. Like this isn't.
And that's
not service. That's the difference.
And that's not just revisionist history. Like I was thinking that right there. I was very shocked as well.
Of course,
like everyone was.
That's it. Yeah, everyone. But like I think McDermott was legitimately that scared of Mahomes that he's like, I don't want to give him even that much shorter of a field, which is insane. But that's the only reasoning you could have.
I think they're more scared of giving up a return, which is nuts. What's the percentage of kickoffs that go for a touchdown? Like it's pretty small. Yeah. Bo, if the difference is one play in that situation versus like 8 yards shorter of a field from Mahomes, it's not even a question. Like you just have to do the squib. And then the play up to Hill, unbelievable. It's like holy like I'm like, all right, they're probably going to need to hit like a 57-yarder or something. And then they get it to like the Kelsey thing is incredible. He goes down at the exact right time.
Immediate calls timeout. Like, as he's getting, before he's even on his 2 feet, he's calling timeout.
Like the comeback in the seam route at the first down. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the next one, like to set up the field goal.
Oh, right.
Yeah. The comeback at the seam was the play or 2 plays before the Hill touchdown. But
that was an audible at the line, eh?
Yeah, I know. I saw that today.
That's when you really know that the rapport between those two guys is getting scary. So the other thing you got to mention, like you're talking about how it was like, when Tyrann Mathieu left the game, it's like he handed a backstage pass to the concert to Gabriel Davis, and he was like, "Here, unlimited access. Seriously. Just come through here. No one will ID you. You're good.
No one's gonna stop you.
Just wear my jersey. It's fine. Yeah.
Just tell him Tyrann sent you, bro.
Yeah, for sure. No, you can have those Fiji waters. That's all good. Those are for you. Yeah, no worries.
That's a green room. Yeah.
Take your shoes off. Score a touchdown. Do whatever you want.
But
Yeah,
Buffalo on the other side, like what's their excuse? Like I guess is it the Chiefs are that great, or did the Bills have a bit of a collapse? Right? We talk about like I said, two best
I,
safeties in the game. Obviously, they don't have
Yeah.
Tre'Davious White, but lots of talk about that unit overall. The Bills defense being one of the best, maybe if not the best, all around defense in the NFL,
you know,
and they were getting
They
shredded.
kept on
too.
reminding us they were the best, right? In the broadcast, they kept on saying it's the best defense on third down
Good.
and highest scoring defense.
Yeah.
good
All that doesn't matter.
offenses.
Mahomes is that good. That's
Yeah.
that's what it comes up to for me. It's just like you can try to guard these guys as long as you want. He's going to fit it in the tightest windows with the weirdest arm angles, or he's just going to extend the play. Him running with the ball, not I just not that I forgot, but I just written it off. Like I just didn't think he did that anymore.
Yeah, the arm talent is so extreme. It's just all you want to talk about. But then when you watch him, every time you see him scamper, like in the first half, he had that drive where he accumulated
60 yards in the first half.
Like a 36-yard run. Yeah,
and then you're just like, oh shit, that's right. He's also very capable of moving the sticks. He's very innate. Like he has incredible awareness when as a rusher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like clearly not that fast, but just a little thing.
He picks his spots so well.
Perfectly, and he's exceptional at extending just for the first downs as well. Like in general, I don't know,
he's so
good awareness.
and to not take big hits, but he also I feel like he has a feel of when there's going to be a high hit or a late hit, and he tries to accentuate and sell it. He's so good. He's just so fun, and the better offenses beat the better defenses. It's just how it goes.
So I think Josh Allen played just as well as Mahomes in this game, but I think the difference ended difference could have been whatever. It would have been whoever had the ball last, I guess. But but I do, and I know they had Gabriel Davis going off, but like the super special thing is you combine a quarterback with Mahomes' talent with like maybe the best receiver, maybe the best tight end in the game, like the trio of those three together, and their experience now and working under Andy Reid, it's just the absolute nightmare matchup for any secondary. Like they're just the three of them.
Yeah. I feel like they rarely send Tyreek Hill vertical now. Like he's less of like a straight out wide out, and he's just like get him the ball. Which I'm not taking this saying this as a bad thing. It's just like get him the ball in space and look what he can do.
Almost feels more like this year that change. I totally get what you're saying.
I think so too.
He's mostly
I think they stopped throwing it to him deep. He still runs those routes, but he gets so much attention when he runs those routes that he'll take 2 to 3 DBs with him.
Yeah, it's like he's the fastest guy in the league, maybe, but he's almost not a deep threat because they don't need it to happen or something like that. It's only on broken plays, it feels like, where he kind of takes off and goes, and then Mahomes tries to hit him. But what a game. I've obviously been a Josh Allen skeptic. Well, I couldn't obviously that game is enough right there to change anyone's opinion. He was absolutely incredible, and the Bills have to be so happy that they have him. Someone just had to lose. And it took an absolutely 1 in a million, never seen before type thing for the Bills to lose that game. And then of course they lose the coin toss, right? So and it was done. It was
you could see it. You could see it in their face as soon as they lost the coin flip.
It was the exact same as the Patriots Falcons Super Bowl when New England won the coin toss. Honestly, you could have turned the game off. It was just a matter of how many plays it was going to take him to score.
And when he yelled tails, Josh Allen, I was like, yes, that's the right call. And then sure enough, I was wrong.
Tails.
Wasn't my day.
It sometimes fails. Yeah, go 50%. But what a game!
Josh Allen arguably followed up his best game ever with a better game.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, I think I opened up last week or opened up on Friday being like, oh, there's going to be a regression. Just a matter how much of a regression. You could argue he was better than he was against New England because he had to do it for 4 quarters.
For sure. Well, we are just about at the end of our time here. I think we covered all those games and obviously started off talking about that Bucs Rams game. And for you two, for Scott and Bo, since there's no more Bucs games to talk about, even though we'll be providing plenty of Buccaneers content, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us for the ride. Providing your unbiased perspective is super valuable, right? Because I got to keep myself in check, and it's hard to do it without you guys. So,
well, let me tell you, being unbiased, I was pretty biased watching that Bucs Rams game. Man, did I want them to pull that one out.
Down.
Oh my, that was awesome. frustrating team, but a fun team. And, another great year. And just what a signing, what a pickup Brady was for them. Too bad all the injuries happened this year, obviously, but overall, a lot of positives to take out of it. And, yeah, man, and not to mention one of the wilder things we've ever seen on a football field with Antonio Brown leaving in the middle of the game. So we'll always have
I
that.
kind of feel like I got the full Bucs fan experience.
Yeah.
That brought you back. It's like you've been with us forever. That's something that would that's so old Bucksy thing that would happen. So my best advice in terms of like recovering from this, Bucs fans, the only advice that I can think of is if you got a Bills fan, cuddle up to them and cry on their shoulder, and they'll offer them the same opportunity. My Bills friend, our friend of the show, Vic Razzo, just texted me. He said Josh Allen was 10-0 on coin tosses going into yesterday's game.
Oh, wow.
How crazy is that? Yeah, T. Scott, so much for 50%. Tails is the play.
How do you don't know that he used tails every time?
Oh, he does.
Who changes? You're crazy.
Tails recognize tails, baby.
Sorry, I didn't know there was all these coin toss takes ready. It's not like it's literally a coin toss. Yeah, we didn't get into the whole rules thing, but that's too bad that the Bills didn't get a chance to return serve, as it were. But wow.
Yeah, and although the Bucs the Bucs season is done, Bucs banter will continue on. We're gonna have NFL playoffs to continue to discuss, and then of course my favorite day of the year will be coming up next after the Super Bowl champion is crowned, and that's the NFL draft. So lots of draft content coming up as well. So thanks for joining us this evening and throughout the season, Bucs fans on Bucs Report. Shout out to all you guys. You made the show fantastic. Even though I'm sensing some depressed vibes today, that's expected, and I'm sending them off myself as well. So no blame. So till next time.
Thanks, guys.